and it has emerged that civil servants stole 1.7 million in benefits meant for pensioners, carers and disability claimants last year. A government report revealed that there were 25 investigations into employee theft in 2024 to 2025 in that tax year, with critics describing it as an outrageous betrayal of public trust. Staff in the Department for Work and Pensions took benefits monies for themselves or approved claims when people were not entitled to the payments. Well, I can now speak to the researcher at the Taxpayers Alliance, Callum McGoldrick. Callum, this is absolutely shocking.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How did we find this information, and how widespread was this? Was it a lot of people dipping in, or were there a few offenders, a few people doing this, but at a high scale?
Well, good afternoon, and thank you very much for having me on. I think the 1.7 million figure is obviously quite high. It comes as a result of a government report that said in the last financial year there were 25 separate investigations launched. Right. That means it's happened on 25 occasions just in the Department of Work and Pensions.
Wow. So that's not that many for that amount of money. So it's people who seriously knew and were able to kind of siphon money away, knowing that it wouldn't be found. How did they find this out?
I would say the government launches reports and does investigations every year into fraud and error. This particular report has found the 25 cases at 1.7 million. Each year we lose about 9.5 billion to fraud and error in welfare reforms. Obviously it's something that's a massive scale. That means that for every £15 that is spent on welfare, £1 of that is lost to fraud and error. It's something that the government is very aware of and should really have to crack down an awful lot more on to stop it happening on such a scale.
So there's a lot of money that they could save just by cracking down on this sort of thing within their own departments and within the people who are working actually for this country using our money. So is there any after this report, is there likely to be anything being put in place or to stop this, or what's the follow-up?
We're going to have to hope that the police and the Crown Prosecution Service goes after this heavily. They should be looking to recover all of the money lost, as well as handing out pretty hefty prison time for the people involved, as well as banning them from ever being anywhere near a public sector role again, especially when they're privileged to information that means that they can siphon money away from the disabled and pensioners. That's
disgraceful.
Yeah, it's really awful.
So presumably they know who these people are. They should name them. Once they find them guilty, they should name them. Do you think that would be a good way forward?
If they're going to court, then, reporters will be able to get there. They'll know exactly what they're guilty of. I think it's something that should carry a great deal of shame with it, as well as something that should be prosecuted incredibly harshly.
Do we know, roughly, how much did you say that they lose? Do we know over all departments, roughly how much? Because I think you mentioned it. I don't know whether you mentioned it for all departments, but do we know how much roughly is lost through fraud and theft across more departments in the government?
The Department of Work and Pensions is where it's easiest to do, given they're a department that deals with directly paying people through welfare systems. I say it's £9.5 billion a year.
Wow.
That's the taxes of about 700,000 households each year just going towards paying for fraud and error. When you look at things the government has tried to clamp down on, their benefits reform that they ended up U-turning on would have saved about £5 billion. This is almost double that. If they managed to cut out the fraud and error even by 50%, they'd have the same amount of savings as their welfare reform bill was meant to have. So it's on a huge scale.
Yeah, it is on a massive scale. Wow. Well, Callum, thank you very much for that information there. And yeah, I'd like to see the government do something about it. I don't think they should carry on like that. And I reckon if they automated things, made things more AI, used some form of AI, they could probably save a fortune. Callum McGoldrick, thank you very much. He's a researcher at the Taxpayers Alliance. Wow, a lot of money being wasted